Oklahoma gang. On my 1800 joyride with my new sexy mug. Just a dream. Would you look at this thing? Huh? The style, the colors, the clipping. Oh, makes me fucking randy. Red says I look like a big owl, but I don't give a shit. Owls are awesome. What I'm truly hoping is that there are some new, greatly inspired, I think, holy paladins who are going to be brave enough to submit their hand to the fate of the shuffle in an earnest endeavor to add this beautiful mod to the collection. So you level one up, you hit 70, but you know some things. You know you need talents, you know you need add-ons, and once you think about getting all that stuff set up, it's just a major deterrent. Because it just seems like a lot of work that you don't want to have to do. And I would argue that you shouldn't have to do, but that's another video. But it's not so much work if I help you with it. Now, if you're looking to push into the stratosphere, up into the super high twitchy level numbers, you're going to need a better horse than me. But if you're looking for a good T-Mog and some fun, I can get you started with that. First thing you need, talents. This is Murloc.io. I want to give you the website instead of just giving you a talent build because I've had a dark, dark vision, family, of a giant Nerf bat in the sky. And, I mean, paladins are good. Really, really good right now. There's a lot of mana. Boy, there's a lot of mana. And I could see where some people could say some shit. However, fuck them. So with that vision in mind, I want to give you a website that you can kind of keep track of what the top players are doing, because it's going to change. It's going to change a lot. In the end, Blizzard decides what the best talent spec is. And so whatever they decide to nerf or buff or overtune or leave alone, that's what ends up becoming the meta. Plus, they got their hands full with this augmentation shit. I mean, how many of us said that this was going to happen? It's either going to be good and busted or it's not going to be worth shit. And that's it. I don't see how there can be any in between. Apparently, they're just a few patches away from balancing all this out. I got to tell you, I remain skeptical. So things can move fast in the talent department and you're going to want to stay up to speed. So you come over here, you click on Paladin and Holy. And this brings you to the solo shuffle Holy Paladin, right? And here you can do 2v2. There's Mythic Plus, and it's going to be the top 50 characters. Now here at the very top, you've got the top 10. And you can click on these characters and you can look at their gear, their enchants, their gems. And if you're not really super plugged into World of Warcraft and you don't, play enough to try different things out, you're going to want to copy a talents because a lot of these people that play, they play it a lot. They stream it. For some of them, it's a job. So they're just going to have a perspective that we're not going to have. And the best thing that we can do is just try to do it the way they do it. So here's your top 10. So if you have any questions on gear or anything like that, just click on one of these and you'll get a good idea of what's going on. Here shows the stat priority. Right now, you can see that crit's pretty valued. People are really trying to get crit because usually it's just haste verse for us. And it has been for a long time, but crits really come up now. Shows you what the most popular race is. But here's my favorite part about this website. So remember, it's the top 50. So you can come down here and see out of the top 50 how the talents have been selected. So like right here at a choice node, 37 of the top 50 take Repentance, but 13 take Blinding Light. Okay, and some of them are even tighter than that, which is kind of cool. But like Divine Resonance down here, remember, I actually predicted that this was going to be really strong with the power of Holy Shock and Glimmer. So I got this one right. I got some of them wrong. Also, remember when I said keep your eye on this one? This is going to get nerfed. This Touch of Light, this is going to get nerfed. But then you come down here to the Holy specialization. It's the same thing. You can just, a lot of talents everybody takes. Everybody's loving Rising Sunlight. Oh, it's just so fun. Rising Sunlight is just great. A lot of people taking Glorious Dawn and Tears Deliverance. None of us, I did not know, family. I'm sorry. There's just no way to really test it out on the PTR, but it is unbelievably strong. That 2-second cast, you got to get it off. And I think people are catching on to that. You got to get it off. But if you do, you're good for a good while. All of this will change If I was a betting man, and you guys, let's just see. If I had to guess, they won't touch seasons. What I think will happen is, I don't even think Rising Sunlight needs to be nerfed. If I had to guess what the nerfs are going to be, they're going to hit Tears, and they're definitely going to hit this Touch of Light. I think those are the two that they'll get started on. But in the end, this will keep you in touch with what the best players in the game are running for whatever content you're looking for. So at the moment, this is the build that is the most common amongst the high-rated players. In the description, of course, you can copy and paste it. All right, let's talk add-ons. In a way, I hate that we have to, right? Because I wish the standard UI was enough. But add-ons are kind of a double-edged sword. On the one hand, they make the game harder because they make you able to track more. And so I think it kind of ruins the spontaneity and dynamic flow of combat because everybody knows to hit things on cooldown. And when everybody's DR'd. And so it takes away a lot of the chaos in a way, but then it kind of adds it back in complexity and the stuff you have to track. But I think it's actually more fun if you can't track everything. However, the reality is you're going to need to track some stuff. Now, immediately you're going to say, dude, I go into solo shuffle and I pretty much just panic for 6 rounds. It's not a problem. That is absolutely what you should be doing. And the process is you keep doing that until the game slows down a little bit. So cheer up, partner. You're doing just fine. And like I tell you, we don't need more high-level healers. We need a shit ton of new healers. So if you're even trying, you're doing a great job. You go in there, you go 0-6, 1-5, 2-4, and eventually you start weaving in some 3 and 3s. But just know that losing is a very key element to learning an arena. And a lot of assholes didn't get the message, but that's just the way it is. In some matches, you're going to miss a cooldown, you're going to miss a heal, and it's going to cost somebody a round. And they're going to flame you because if you've played competitive games at all lately, there's just a huge amount of gamers now, typically young male gamers, who do not have the emotional maturity to handle a video game loss. And they'll lose and they'll flame you. And, we've all flamed back. And then you get in this argument. And I want to be very clear. I'm not just bagging DPS here. Sometimes healers talk the most shit. So there's some really awful healers out there. But just in general, if you're trying to learn a new class, whether it's a DPS class, healer, whatever, you don't need all that negativity clouding up your mental because WoW is already a very hard game. And there's a lot of spells and there's a lot of shit to know. And you've got a lot of learning to do. Go in there, try hard, kick ass, and whatever fucking happens, happens. It's okay if you don't hit your cooldowns, okay? And they're going to quit because he hit his cooldowns when he was playing on the other side. Yeah, that's called learning, idiot. All that said, you will need add-ons. So head over to the Curse Forge down in the description, and that's a great place to get started getting add-ons. Now remember, UI is a very personal thing, so I'm just going to show you how I have mine set up and some of the settings I have, and you just take it from there. You make it however you want it, whatever's great for you. But sometimes having a framework to work from is a lot easier than generating it from scratch. Just know that most people's add-on package, they've tweaked over years and years. I'm still working on mine every expansion. Some mods go out, some mods come in. Just know that your UI will continuously be a work in progress, and that's completely fine. That's how it is for most of us. First add-on up, Ability Team Tracker. This is the one that's going to show you what cooldowns your teammates have available. It'll highlight them if they're being used, and it will show you how much of a cooldown they have left if they have used them. Very helpful information for determining, if it's a good time for you to use a cooldown or if they still have one. Probably my favorite use for this is to see if a Ret Paladin still has his bubble up. I always like to let them use their bubble first so I don't rob them of that. And then after that, I'll follow it up with my cooldowns. So a few of the preferences I have in this one are, I'd like to auto attach the frames to the UI. It will just set them very neatly out next to your party or raid frames. I like to hide the anchors, that 1 and 2 button that you'll see out there. Another thing I actually like to do is come down here into options, and I like to see the dampening. One of my favorite things about Ability Team Tracker is, as people use their abilities, you'll see that it highlights them. And I really like that because it teaches you what abilities look like. And so that's been really nice, especially in solo shuffle, because you play so many different comps, and that's what always sucked about Arena, was people just played one comp over and over. So you learn, in one way, it was nice because you really learned how to play against, say, a rogue, mage, or whatever. However, now that you've got all the specs just cycling through, you really get a good feel, if you play enough, for what abilities start to look like. Now, again, when you're first starting out, you may not even see this stuff, but go ahead and put it on your screen because you'll learn to. Next add-on, diminish options. So what this does is, it's my diminishing returns tracker. If you don't know what that is, when you use CC on someone, they'll eat that full CC, and then there's a period of time where there's this kind of stacking protection that they get. So if they get hit with another stun in that time, it'll cut that stun in half. If another one comes in, it cuts it by a fourth, and then after that, they're immune for a period of time before they can be stunned again. So overlapping the same type of CCs reduces their effectiveness. This basically prevents you from being chain CC'd, supposedly, although because there's different categories of CCs, you can actually still be CC'd, pretty long, and you're going to eat a lot of shit. Just comes with the healer territory. And so what diminish does is, when you cast that, right, it puts this little countdown up that shows you that for the next, 18 and counting seconds, if this target gets hit with another stun, it'll cut it in half. And then it'll show you a little half sign, and then it'll cut it in fourth, and then it'll show you that they're immune. And that's really nice information, because if a hunter uses a stun ability, or a rogue or warrior, whoever stuns someone, and then you run in there and stun them again, you're only going to get 3 seconds out of this rather than the full 6. Whereas if you wait for a period of time, you can get more value out of this. That's diminishing returns, and that's what the diminish add-on helps you do. Very good add-on to have. Enhanced raid frames, you don't necessarily have to have this one. I just find that it puts, when you say, let's say I get forbearance on me, you'll see that it puts it up here. You can also put this in different places, but this really keeps the buffs in your frames nice and clean. I just really like how enhanced raid frames cleans up all the little buffs and stuff in the bars. And you can make them bigger or smaller if you need to. So just gives you some nice customization. And what's going on in those bars is going to be very important information to you. So keeping them nice and clean and organized and getting the appropriate information is very important. And enhanced raid frames helps you do that. In that same spirit, FrameSort, this one is just so needed. Sometimes what will happen is you'll load into a game and you'll be here in the middle, and party 2 will be here and party 3 will be here. And so if you have keybind set to party 1, it just looks and feels awkward when you hit 1 and it goes to the middle, and you hit 2 and it goes to the top. Enter FrameSort, where it just keeps it right there. You can see it will always be party 1 will be the top frame, party 2, or you can sort it by role. This just keeps it nice and organized so it doesn't get confusing in the heat of battle. Where most of these add-ons are visual, this one is actually an audio add-on that announces cooldowns that go off in the arena as they happen. So if a DPS player pops a big cooldown, it'll tell you this went off. This is very, very important for learning about polymorphs and CC, because it'll announce when a CC is beginning to get cast. This is probably one of the best add-ons for teaching you the game, because the whole time you're playing, it's just announcing what's happening. It's just a really great tool for learning the complexities of WoW Arena. TellMeWhen. So you'll often hear people say, hit this on cooldown, hit this on cooldown. But it can be difficult to get that cooldown tempo if you're new to a class. What it'll allow you to do is set up big buttons. I mean, you can make them, whatever you need, family. Some of us need it pretty, whatever. You can put them down there. and whenever they pop up. But what'll happen is you'll hit that ability, and we'll just make them a little more reasonable, but not too much because we're going to learn. And then what happens is, as I use those abilities, they go away. And then when they come back up off cooldown, guess what? Bink, blink. There it is. And now you know it's time to use them. You got these nice big reminders teaching you there's another one. Use that one. Don't let it stretch you out. Just let it be a tool that teaches you. Another good way to use TellMeWhen is, say you're new to a class that's very cooldown oriented, and you need to get used to using all of those cooldowns. And then once you use them all, right, they'll pop back up. This is just a super handy add-on to help you learn your rotation and kind of, like I said, get that rhythm to using things on cooldown. So far, so good. Now let's get you some nameplates. What are nameplates? That's a nameplate. And you're going to want them because they give you very important information, especially when there's multiple targets. This is the nameplate add-on I use, and I use it for one very specific reason, is that it allows me to get a very cool set of nameplates. So what you do is you download this add-on, and then you go to this website called Weakauras. This is Wego. And all you have to do when you get here is come to the top and type in mess. If you don't know who that is, he's an absolute PvP stud, a monster. The kid is an absolute monster DPS. So I actually played against him one time in Shadowlands, and I lasted like 24 seconds, which I'm very proud of, actually. Hey, before you talk shit, you try going 24 seconds against Mess. Now, one of his great gifts to the PvP community is that he puts out a profile of his nameplates. And what's really great about this set of nameplates, it's right down here. Make sure you don't get the wrong ones, okay? Make sure you come get these DF beta nameplates, and he keeps them pretty updated. But what these will do is, not only will they give you a nice clean nameplate to start from, and again, you can make your own personal adjustments, and I'll show you some of the ones that I make. But most importantly, it marks very important stuff like totems and other things that you need to be aware of that he's kind of set up to kind of really signal when they're dropped. And so they draw your attention, and then you know it's something you need to deal with. So all you do is you click on it, you come up here to copy import string. You're going to go back into your game, and then you open your platers and go into profiles. And when you go to import, right, you just hit Control V, and it'll tell you right there, mess nameplates. Okay, and then you hit OK. Now, I already have them, so I don't need them again. But that's all you do. That's going to give you the initial nameplates. Now, you'll notice that yours probably come up, and you probably have something like this where they're always on. Okay, well, this will turn them off, and that's going to have them up all the time. And that's great if you're going into an arena, but if you're walking around town, not so great. And that's kind of the thing about this setup. His shit is set up to kick ass in arena. That may not always be the best for, doing dailies and stuff. So you kind of got to tweak it for you. Some of the choices that I like, as I like to take always show off. However, if you're going into solo shuffle or something, don't be afraid to turn it back on. It's nice to be able to see people. If I'm just cruising around and chilling, I'll take that off. I like to come, use some transparency for out of range. I usually check this option. I like icons on elite and rares. And then one of the most important decisions is what you want to do with enemy player bars. Do you want the HP bar to be the class color? So like when it's a priest, it'll be white. When it's a warrior, it'll be gray, and so on. Or you can just make it a fixed color like a red, so you always know red health bars. And then you could make the player name text a class color. There's a ton of things I could go into about Plater and Mess nameplates and how helpful they've been in helping me learn. Just try them out. See for yourself how helpful they are. Even if you're a DPS player especially, I would still suggest trying them out because it really highlights a lot of shit you need to either take care of or get away from. It does a very good job of that. In the same way that Plater gives you pertinent information that you need to be aware of on your nameplates, Weakauras gives you another way to add a layer of visual cues that helps you be aware when important shit happens. So you come into Weakauras and you'll see when these abilities are hit, it'll play a sound, and some of them are pretty loud. Also, it shows you the name of the ability, you know, things like healing stream are red because you teaches you need to get those healing stream totems down, which a lot of DPS aren't even aware of when they drop, it seems like. But between the nameplates and this add-on, you'll become more aware of when they do. And this will tell you when a lot of other abilities that you need to handle are going off. And so between all of these add-ons, I'm getting, you know, visual cues from Plater and Weakauras. Diminish is letting me know about the CC. My raid frames are giving me nice, accurate information on buffs and debuffs that my team are dealing with. And then I'm also getting my audio cues that let me know when abilities are going off. So I'm getting visual cues, audio cues, and then TellMeWhen is helping me get used to my rotation and all of my cooldowns. And so for me, that's a great little starter kit. The only thing I like to add here is Gladius. This is Gladius Ex, just so cool. It'll show you the enemy players' cooldowns, both offensive and defensive, even like counter spell, right? Very important to know. It'll also show you the most important thing, which is their trinket up? You know, this is a big deciding factor. Before you push in and try to CC another healer, you're going to want to see if their trinket's up. Now, it doesn't mean you don't want to do it if it is, but it's just something to be aware of. And you probably don't want to do it if it is. Probably don't want to do it anyway. But I love to push in and lose a match. It's one of my favorite things to do. Now, I want to be very clear. I very rarely at this point in the game see a lot of this information on Gladius. The only thing that I'm kind of getting better at is seeing whose trinket's up and looking to see if the other healer's trinket's up before I risk a repent or, you know, pushing in for a hammer if we're really popping some offensive cooldowns and I think we could win the game with some CC. So I'm trying to be a lot better at sitting back and healing, not throwing a match by pushing in, but I still love to do it from time to time. It is not uncommon for me to be surprised when the other player dies. But as I've put my nameplates up, got my audio cues, and, you know, Gladius here, between all of that information, occasionally I figure out something happened. And that's where you'll be, and that's okay. You'll notice if you install Gladius that when you log in, it'll be on your screen like this, and you'll be like, how the hell do I get that off my damn screen? And how you do that is you just go into your options, you turn off in that case it was testing, but if you lock the frames, they'll go away. And there you go, family. You got your solo shuffle starter kit ready to go. Now, I'm going to hop into a battleground so you can see all these add-ons working together. I think I've got them set up so that they'll all go off in the battleground here. I'd love to do it in solo shuffle, but I'm not good enough to talk and play well, and I don't want to screw my teammates over. So we'll do it in a battleground, and that's what I suggest you do. Oh, let's get the tasty treats here. Thank you, Mage. Very nice. Oh, and the T-Mog too, madam. Very nice. And, but that health. Woo! I got you, family. Don't worry about it. So let's start going through the add-ons so I can show you what they do. Ability tracker. So I can show this up in Battlegrounds real quick. Look, it'll put their abilities out to the side. So that's ability team tracker. A little much in a Battleground, but great in solo shuffle. Let's go, Beacon boys. And just run the talent spec that I showed you so that you can learn. Now, right away, see, look, you're going to see all this shit light up. It's going to tell you, I'm just going to go ahead and hit the wrong button, and then we'll get the tiers out. Pop this up. Let's just see. Going to go ahead and, let's just hit that Aura Mastery and get everybody cleaned up. Get the Dispels out. Going to go and hop it on myself because I'm stacking up too. And see, you're just going to do it. My man here hitting me, but he don't want none of that. He don't want none of that. He does, though. Going to go ahead and just put the, take that fear off my man there. Staying in the cart. Wish I had some more in the cart with me, but it's okay. All this shit from the Boomkins. You know why they're overpowered? Because you took away the Boomkin's natural predator, which was cleanse the weak from holy pallies. But it's okay. Things are balanced now, right? Because you took that from us. But oh yeah, they're still not. Now Boomkins are really out of control. So I'm not bitter about it though. So, but you can see all the information. Get this damn healer to shut up. See, and this is what I like. See, and now I can see it. When he casts, I'll be able to see it and interrupt it, right? So I'll just set him as my focus there. And then if he goes in for like that, I'll interrupt it. And that's what the Weakauras allow you to do. And look, I can see this guy's an avatar. And of course, you won't know all this stuff when you first start, but you'll learn it. So I've got it all kind of turned on right now. It's a lot, but I'm going to keep this. I'm keeping this little mage up. You're safe with me, little mage. You see Shadow Dance? That's that mess Weakauras telling me some rogue's going hammer. And since I don't have a rogue, someone needs a cooldown. Sit back here. I think we're all good. See? Shows me their casting, their name. And you can take off, like, you can take off the, if you come into nameplates and you go into friendly player, like things like guild name, you can take off. One of the ones I really like down here is only damaged players. So you'll see I kind of get this, it just shows his name, but then if he gets damaged, it'll pull up his health bar so I know. And that way not all of them are up all the time. So that's a good one to add. But again, sometimes in solo shuffle, you'll just want them up all the time. My man, you are so intense. I'm just going to go ahead. Nope, not on me you don't, buddy. When I come out of this cyclone, we'll get my man up here. Oh, another cyclone. Gonna have to stop that cyclone. You want them heals, family? Get him up. Another cyclone. But now I'm on DR, my man. You got nothing else, and you're the only one CCing. Now, if they had cross CC, that could have been a real problem. God, this game is so much fun. I'm telling you, WoW is the most fun it's ever been, especially in retail. The PvP is really great. No, it's not balanced at all. I'm kind of on top of that mountain right now, but we'll see what the Blizzard gods have in store for all of us. But I still just have a great time, especially these random battlegrounds. And look, I'm winning this one, but I just got pummeled in some earlier today. And I still have a great time. And I really find if you try to keep it positive yourself, people reciprocate that. So just good game, family. And there it is, Oklahoma gang. And now you are prepared to get into that solo shuffle and start kicking ass. There's a lot to learn, and there's some assholes along the way. So block your chat, block your whispers, turn it into a single player game if you have to, because solo shuffle is awesome, and it's a lot of fun. But there, as you can see, the add-ons will tell you there's a lot going on, and it can feel very overwhelming. And what you have to do is you have to set your add-ons up and go in there and get your ass handed to you over and over again. And that can be a hard thing to take. But we all took the lumps, okay? And sometimes it can feel like you're especially bad when you're in there getting thumped or you're on a bad streak. But that's not the case. We've all gone 0-6. We've all had our asses handed to us. We've all missed cooldowns in one round and then found them the next round. That's just the nature of it. Okay? There's a lot of people that can't handle it emotionally, and that's their deficiency, not yours. Don't let them ruin your fun. You're a badass healer. You always have been. You just need some practice, and that's the truth. Promise me you won't let them take your fun. I hope some of these tips help you get on your own 1800 joyride real soon. But no matter what, Oklahoma's going to be there with you every step of the way. We fight together, family. Oklahoma out.